Hello, friends. Welcome back to Aaron's Anxiety. I'm your host, Aaron, your personal guide through anxiety. So, I need to tell you guys some info. I got some of that good info for you. I try to be as very forward and raw and giving with my knowledge that I have, and then I also try to be very vulnerable for you guys to let you know, one, that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to admit that there are some things that aren't going great in your life. And so there's some things that I forget to say because they don't come up all the time, but one of those things, because I don't want to lead on too much, is I want to tell you guys one of the things that happens to me, and I'm sure it happens to you. I've heard it a couple times before. People don't usually talk about it too much, but it is one thing that happens to me quite often. It went away for a while, but it has kind of found its way back. So this is going to be kind of a double video. One, because there's a longtime YouTube subscriber and a friend of mine named Drina. I always call her Driana. It's Drina Rizzo, and she's a great gal. And I try to stay up to date with her story, and she has what a lot of people have. Drina has the thing where one of her main symptoms that she doesn't keeps persisting. Okay, it won't go away for whatever reason, and I've tried to kind of message her about it, but I figured this is going to help a lot of people, so we'll go ahead and make this part of my video. Okay, and so it kind of ties in with what I've got going on as well. One of the main things to keep in mind is that whatever, and I say it and people, it's best to go into a little bit of detail. Whatever you resist will persist. Okay, whatever you resist will persist. Okay, and what I mean by that is whatever you're worried about most is what's going to take the longest to go away. So say, for the sake of saying, say you have headaches, you're worried about heart palpitations, and you have agoraphobia, which is your fear of going out into public places, public speaking, blah blah blah, and you're afraid of going out into the world and interacting with the world. It's agoraphobia, a very general term for it. So the heart palpitations, that's kind of secondary. It's on your radar, but it's nothing crazy. When you start taking an SSRI or something of that sort that's made for an anxiety or depression medication, you'll have those smaller ones will tend to fade faster. Okay, and it's because they're not up front in your brain where you're worried about them and thinking about them all the time. Okay, so it's the big ones. Okay. So there's a thing that used to be said all the time, and I don't hear people say it anymore, but it's really important, and is that if you've ever lost a loved one, or if you haven't seen a loved one for a very long time, their face will fade into your memory. You can't see as clearly their face anymore. It's because you don't see them, you're not refreshing, their cerebral cortex of, hey, this is what this looks like, keep this on mind. Right now you can think of your parents' face, and if you spend a lot of time with them. But when you stop spending time with them, their face slowly fades, and that's why pictures are such a beautiful thing. It helps refresh it in your brain so you don't lose that image of your loved ones. It's the same exact thing with anxiety, okay? Things will tend to fade, okay? You go out and about in your day, and you see the gas station clerk, and hi, how are you? Seems like a very nice guy. Your day-to-day, and most of the people, you are going to forget very quickly what they look like, how they acted, what was going on, because they were very secondary in your world at that time. Whereas your parents, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, people that are important or impactful to you, it'll take a lot longer for them to fade. It's the exact same thing with your symptoms. Your brain treats it in the exact same way. Whatever is secondary will slowly fade. Well, quickly fade, and whatever is not secondary will slowly fade. Sorry, it's gonna cut a little bit. Sam always calls when I do a video, just how she does. So recapping, whatever. What is it? What? It's gone. Boom. Yeah, whatever is secondary in your life will quickly fade. Whatever is rudimentary in your life will slowly fade. Now we're gonna get the fade no matter what. If you don't have pictures of mom and dad, eventually you will forget what they look like. It's the exact same thing. Okay? but it's going to take a lot longer because they are impactful, because your brain says, hey, this is meaningful, I need to have this information, this needs to stay. So therefore we go back to the guy with agoraphobia. Yes, his heart palpitations have simmered down, his headaches have simmered down, but for some reason he still can't seem to get up off the couch and go out into the world and face the world. Why? Because that was the biggest one he was thinking about. Anytime that he would have a lull in a moment where he wasn't communicating with somebody, he wasn't actively doing something with his brain, and it was just dead space, his brain would go, how's that agoraphobia doing? Are you still afraid to go? What's going on here? Is that constant, that constant betrayal of your own brain. You know what I mean? So I hope that puts that into perspective of how that works. Now, let's bring this back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video of what I deal with still. Okay, so one of my big things when I was going through the journey was depersonalization. For those of you who don't know, I don't smoke marijuana very often, but I smoked it, a lot of it, with some friends, or well, technically it was by myself. But I'm my own friend, me, myself, and I. But I had been smoking a little bit with some friends just because, it's in the air or whatever. And then I did it by myself, and it was fine a couple times. The one time I smoked a lot of it, and it freaked me out. And I was going in and out of panic attacks. And then my whole brain went, all right, Control-Alt-Delete, shut it down, brr, brr, brr. And then we went into depersonalization. And if you haven't experienced that, you don't want to. It is bad. So in that time, that is what took a good portion of my time to get rid of. So for those who aren't familiar with my story, I ended up going about 8 months with no Lexapro, no Zoloft, no SSRI of any sort. I thought, you know what, I'm in this bad place in my brain, and I know I don't want to be here forever, because if this is life, I don't want to live it, and I want to enjoy my life, and this isn't joyful. But I'm not going to give up on my life, because my life is way too important to me. So I went to work on me for 8 or 9 months, something like that. I just hammered it. Every day I would get up and I would literally write down things that I thought were causing me stress, and I would try to check them off, improve them even somewhat. If I could improve it just a little bit, just 10% improve something, then I could check that off the list. And so what I was doing is I was taking all the things that would bother me, my finances, make sure I have a secondary emergency source, health and fitness. I was starting to eat better. I was trying to exercise. I was stimulating my brain with new information and putting in good information, trying to get out the bad. I got off of social media for a good long time because there was a lot of negativity in the air, and I didn't want to surround myself with that kind of negativity and be putting bad stuff in my brain, because remember, whatever you put in is what's going to be reciprocated back out. So I went on this crazy journey, listened to a lot of Les Brown and Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, David Goggins. Like, there's so many important people that their stories helped get me inspired to be better and do better and feel better. And I wish I could meet these guys in real life just to thank them, just because they helped pull me out of a bad situation. And so I got rid of that depersonalization. Almost completely all of it. The only things that I had lingering was something that lingers even to this day, and don't ask me why it won't go away, but it just seems to not want to go away. It's gotten much, much better, let me tell you that, for one. And how I go about it's really different, but I still need to keep addressing it because it's one of the big ones. So what I fear is that whenever I get into a situation where I'm talking to someone, like one-on-one, and this doesn't happen all the time by any stretch of the term. Now, keep in mind, with my job, I'm in and out of people's homes. I meet at least two people every day, and I'm talking and going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But every now and then, for whatever reason, my brain will say, while they're talking to me, they'll be sharing their story or whatever, and my brain will go, hey, what if you had a panic attack right now? Oh, that's a scary thought. And then you get that little tingle down there in your stomach, like, oh God, that would suck. I'd look like a weirdo. They would be afraid for me. I don't want them to be afraid of me. Or I would say, hey, what if I passed out right now? Uh-oh, what if I passed out right now? What if I just was sitting here talking to them and all of a sudden was just out? Those both would be horrible. And that'll inhabit me for like 3 seconds. and just enough to jar my stomach a little bit, and then I'll just go back to the conversation. And I don't think that anybody can tell because I'm really good at keeping a straight face about stuff. I'm like, yeah, all right. Inside I'm going, what if you pass out right now? You look like a weirdo, and who knows what would happen. But inside I'm going, yeah, no, seriously, no, that's my thing too. Yeah, absolutely. So that is something that continues to persist. I don't know why I would be afraid to have a panic attack in front of somebody. Here's the thing. People in this world are rational, okay? It seems when you watch the news or look at social media that people are very irrational, and as a crowd of people are very dumb, okay? We're very irrational, and we're very gullible, but individually, when you break a crowd up person by person, people are on the whole rational, they're thoughtful, they're kind. This is the average, okay? I'm just being exactly what I think about people. I think most people are good, and I think most people want to do good. Have some outliers. Like I said, there's always a nut in the cookie somewhere, but for the most part, you're eating a cookie, okay? So if I did have a panic attack, they would be worried. Oh, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, having a panic attack. This is if it happened, they would be fine. They would say, wow, the guy had a panic attack today. You know what I mean? Something like that. But that would be about it. If I passed out, I'd just wake up, they'd be there. But would you pass out? I don't know. I must have low blood sugar. I don't have low blood sugar. But that, you could pass it off really fast. And they go, oh, they're like, poor guy. You know what I mean? And then they go back to their lives and you go back to yours. So it's not a big deal. But for whatever my brain does not want to let that go. And it comes back probably once a week. I'll get that. Just, what if you passed out in front of this person? What if you had an anxiety attack in front of this person? So, I need to keep working at it, and I keep doing it, or keep going at it. But that is something that I'm fearing. But I will keep you guys updated as I go. But I hope this answers the question for people that are waiting for one particular symptom or side effect to go away. If you're waiting for one to go away, just know that it's going to be stressful. This isn't easy. It took quite a while for you to get yourself into the situation. It's going to take a while for you to get yourself out. Try to be patient. You guys know I push patience so much on this channel because it is volatilely important, okay? So try to be very patient. Know that it will get better if you continue to persist. You can't give up. That's the other side of the coin. So if you've ever seen the movie It, he was living off of people's fear. And that's exactly what anxiety does. It lives off of your fear. Whatever you fear, we're going to keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up, keep bringing it up. So that's the kicker. Can we not be afraid of it anymore? Can we get away from it? Can we stop being fearful of it? That's hard. But the more you understand something, the less fear you have. By nature, just through evolution, we are supposed to fear things that we don't understand. And anxiety is one of those things. But the more you understand it, the better you're going to feel. Okay, friends? All right, so I'm going to leave the video here. I hope this was helpful. If you find any value in it, share it, comment, subscribe. And I love you. And until next time, I'm Aaron. You're awesome. And I'll see you in the next video.